Hello Labradoodle puppy lovers. We have a week 5 puppy litter update for you. These are our mini Australian Labradoodle puppies from the celebration litter. And in today's video, we are going to give you our usual update about the puppies, tell you their current weights, what they've been up to, and we're also going to today talk about vaccinations, worming, and flea and tick medications. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and these little week 5 puppies look like they're very quiet and placid right now, and that's because they've just come in from being outdoors. These guys are crazy about being outside. These puppies have been out rolling around, playing with each other, and exploring their new world. They've really taken to being outside. And the other thing, oh, the door just closed, and so they all got woken up there. The other thing that's happened with the puppies is their teeth have come in even more. So they have very sharp teeth now. They're almost all in. That's their baby teeth. People sometimes wonder, well, when will they get their adult teeth? And that's usually at around 6 months. And you can see that I think that silver collar over there who is chewing on my shoe, they are looking for something to chew on all the time because they're trying to soothe that teething discomfort that they have. And at week 5, we don't want to be disciplining the puppies yet. We don't want to be reprimanding them. We want to just be redirecting them if they're doing something such as biting something that we don't want them to be biting. Now normally I would go and stop Silver Collar over there and give him something else to chew on rather than the base of my shoe, but since we're doing the video, we'll just leave him be for now. I'll see if he'll be interested in the monkey instead of my shoe. The other thing the puppies really enjoy is untying laces. It's amazing how fast a little Labradoodle puppy can untie your shoelaces. So if you are wearing shoes that do have laces and you're playing with your puppy, please take a moment to check your shoes before you start walking and trip yourself as you fall over the laces. So these puppies are really thriving. You can see that they're at the moment all conked out mostly because they were outside running around. It's a gorgeous sunny day on Vancouver Island, and they just are having a blast exploring their new world. And we're really happy to see that these puppies have a lot of confidence, they have a good level of curiosity, and they just want to go out and find out what is out there in the world. So now we're going to switch and talk a little bit about health and wellness. So the first thing we're going to talk about is vaccinations. So your puppy's going to go home to you having had their 4 core vaccines. There's multiple vaccinations available for puppies. So why don't we give them more? Why don't we give them everything when they're little? So puppies are born with natural immunity. They get that from their mom. It's called maternal antibodies. So maternal antibodies generally stay present in a puppy up to about week 18. When your puppy has their first set of shots, what's happening is here's the vaccine, here's the maternal antibodies, and they basically are almost canceling one another out. And then when you go get your second set of vaccines, your puppy is starting to get some immunity from those vaccines. And then by the third set, we feel fairly confident that your puppy has immunity now from the vaccinations. But you need to test that because you have no idea. In some puppies, the maternal antibodies are so strong that they fight against the vaccine, not just number 1 in the first time rather, but the second and the third time as well. So you end up with a puppy who has virtually no immunity or even none whatsoever. So at week 20, which is going to be 4 weeks after your last set of shots, you're going to take your puppy into your vet and have what's called a titer test. It's a very simple 5-minute blood draw. And for anyone who's living in British Columbia, that blood test is going to go to a lab that's called True North. It's in Chilliwack. They're going to analyze it and they'll give you back a report saying whether or not your puppy has immunity. You only need to test for parvo and distemper, because if they have that immunity, then the others are there as well. And so that is really a key thing, because otherwise you have no way of knowing if indeed your puppy really does have immunity from their shots. And then the vaccinations are designed to be present for at least 3 years. So every 3 years after that, you're going to go back and have your puppy's titers tested. And you'll do that for their entire lives. So my dogs are 10, 8, and 7, and they have not had their titers tested for 3 years. So they will go in this year to have that blood work done to make sure that everything is still in place. Now, my experience, I've not yet had a dog who ever needed to have a booster shot. They have had immunity that is sufficient through to the end of their lives from those first sets of vaccines. So that's something to keep in mind, because you don't want to give them a vaccine if they don't need it. If you keep vaccinating them, rather than what you would think is logical and the immunity level becoming stronger, it actually weakens it, because you just keep exposing them to it over and over again, and they develop less and less immunity. So it's really important to test the titers and not have your puppy vaccinated if they don't need to be. So what are the optional vaccines? Well, the things that are optional are Bordetella, which is kennel cough, leptospirosis, which is something that you get from the urine from wild animals in stagnant water, and rabies. There's a few others, but they're not common enough to worry about. A Bordetella, kennel cough, is somewhat similar to a flu shot for you and I. It is something you have to have done annually. It is usually a year behind in terms of the strain, because of course, like all these viruses, they mutate. It's just like COVID. We have to go and get different shots for COVID, and we have to get different flu shots every year, because the virus keeps mutating to deal with anything that we're trying to do to destroy it. Viruses are very clever. So kennel cough will not protect your puppy from the majority of strains that are out there, but it will provide them with protection from a few thousand of them. And there are literally tens and tens of thousands of strains. It will, if they get kennel cough, also tend to make the symptoms a little less. But kennel cough is nothing serious unless you're an infant or a geriatric. If your puppy is robust, like these ones, 8 weeks and older and under 15, then Bordetella is like you and I having a cold, except for it sounds horrific, because it is a bad cough that lasts for a few days. And that cough sounds a bit like whooping cough. It's very loud, and it sounds like, oh my goodness, this is just awful. What was she talking about saying this was just like a cold? It really sounds horrific. However, it's very easy for your dog to shake off. It's also highly contagious, so it's not unlikely that your dog will be exposed to it. And many training facilities, when you go with your puppy to do puppy training or their adult classes, they will ask that your puppy be vaccinated for Bordetella before they attend class. So that's something that's optional for you to think about. It's important, though, that all of these optional vaccines, if you choose to use them, that you do them at least 2 weeks away from any other type of vaccine. You don't do them in combination. Again, you don't want to overload the puppy system. That is just can make them ill, and it also is likely to reduce the efficacy of each of the vaccines. Leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is around everywhere. Generally, your vet will recommend that you have a leptospirosis vaccine, because it is one of the few things that can be transmitted from your dog to you. If you get it, it'll be like having the flu. when your dog gets it, it's also pretty much like getting the flu. It's a little bit worse than having kennel cough, but again, if your dog is in their prime years, chances are it's not going to bother them and that it can be treated. But it is entirely optional and lots of people choose to have it. It used to be a really high risk vaccine, not the actual vaccine, but the medium that the vaccine is in. They've improved that so that it's not quite as risky as it used to be, although it is still a higher risk one. And again, it's one that has to be done annually because once again, there are many, many thousands and thousands of strains of leptospirosis, and the vaccine only protects your puppy against a few. And then finally, there's rabies. Rabies is something that if you are leaving Canada, you do not need to go to the US, which is where most Canadians tend to travel to with their dog, but you cannot return to Canada from the United States without your puppy having a rabies vaccination. You can wait until the day before you come back to Canada and have that rabies shot done in the US if you prefer, or you can do it before you go. We ask that you wait until your puppy is 6 months old to have their rabies vaccine. And the only reason for this is the rabies vaccine is the one that's most likely to cause a reaction in your dog. It's the one that there's more dogs have an allergic reaction to or a bad response to than any of the others. So if you can wait until your puppy is 6 months old, that allows their immune system to be a little bit more robust. It gives them a little bit more opportunity to be able to deal with the vaccine without the side effects. And then rabies, the first one is repeated after 1 year, and then after that it's every 3 years. In some places, you must have a rabies vaccine. If you live in the US, because there is rabies in the US is much more prevalent than in Canada. Canada is regarded, ouch, ouch, as a rabies-free country by the US, even though we're not a rabies-free country. There is rabies here, but it is so unlikely and uncommon that we are deemed to be rabies-free, which is why you don't need the shot when you enter the US. But in some provinces and in some states, you are required to have a rabies shot. So check your general rules and regulations to make sure you're following those. And if there's something that says your puppy must be vaccinated for rabies by the time they're 3 months, which is the earliest you can do it, then of course you're going to do that. Once again, you want to do that 2 weeks away from your final set of shots, which will be at week 16. So that's it for vaccinations. The main takeaway here is you don't do multiple ones at the same time, and you don't vaccinate if you don't have to. And you check with a titer shot to see if your dog has immunity or not. Titer shots for rabies are quite expensive, or not titer shots, rather titer testing for rabies is quite expensive. And in some states, a titer certificate is all you need to comply with that state's regulations for having your puppy vaccinated. Worming products. When your puppy leaves Van Isle Doodles, your puppy will have a clear fecal. They will not have parasites. They will have been tested and they will have been dewormed. We have wormed them here. Now, if you live in some states, such as Arizona, California, Florida, or some parts of Canada, I believe Ontario, but I'm not positive on that, you may need to protect your dog from heartworm. You can do that using a product called Revolution. Revolution protects your dogs against fleas, and it also protects your dog from heartworm. That is the only product in your purchase contract that's approved for heartworm and or fleas. Revolution does not protect your puppy against ticks. It provides a little bit of extra care for that and a little bit of a deterrent for ticks, but it is not a tick repellent. So there's no guarantee. But it does keep fleas away. It's entirely safe. It's safe enough for dogs to have when they're pregnant or lactating. That product's been around for decades and has an excellent safety record. It is the only product that we permit to be used that isn't natural for the protection of your dog against fleas and heartworm. For other worms, the ones that are more common that we see in dogs and cats everywhere, whipworm and roundworm, then all you need is Interceptor. Not Interceptor Plus, just Interceptor. It is gentle enough for your dog to have if they have worms. But you don't go and worm your dog just because. And some vets will, when you go for your puppy checkup, suggest to you that you worm your puppy. You don't need to worm your puppy. Your puppy doesn't have worms. When you go every year to have your annual checkup with your puppy, then you will bring in a fecal sample. They will run in your vet clinic, they'll run the test and see if there are any parasites. And if there are, then you'll treat them appropriately. If there aren't any, then you won't need to worry. Our adult dogs that we have, who I said were 10, 8, and 7, they've never been wormed except for as puppies. They just simply aren't exposed to anything. Other than when they were pregnant. When they were pregnant, they were, because female dogs, when they're pregnant, have a worm that all female dogs have that remains dormant unless your dog becomes pregnant. So you don't have to worry if you have a female dog. You won't in this litter because they're all boys, except for the one girl who I'm really hoping is going to join our breeding program. We're really hoping she's going to test out. The other thing to conclude is tick products. Ticks are highly annoying. They're disgusting little things and they carry disease with them. Fortunately, in British Columbia, our ticks are not quite as awful as they are in some other parts of the country, especially in Ontario, in many of the United States, and even now in British Columbia, in the Okanagan, ticks are starting to become a problem in terms of carrying Lyme disease. This is the thing that we're most worried about if we get a tick. So our particular property, we have lots of ticks, lucky us. And they're not here all the time, but they're here most of the time. And when the tick medications first came out, which are Bravecto, NexGard, and Simparico-Trio, those are the ones that you'll hear of and your vet will carry, we're like, oh yay, finally something. It's just a gummy. The dogs only eat it once every 3 months if it's Bravecto. And look at this, they're going to not have fleas or ticks. Hallelujah. Unfortunately, these are insecticides, and because they have to be robust enough to have your dog's system altered so that fleas don't want to, or ticks don't want to bite them, the changes made to your dog's body can cause very severe neurological problems and even death. Does it happen all the time? Absolutely not. And what happens primarily is these medications, these pesticides, they change the way that your dog's brain works so that the mechanism that stops your dog from having seizures is, it stops working. And so your dog will have seizures. Oftentimes they have seizures that are grand mal seizures and it kills them. Other times they may be a very short neurological incident that doesn't last very long. And sometimes they're in the middle and cause a lot of neurological damage that's permanent. So it's about, I don't know what the statistics are, but it's fairly high risk. It's obviously not so high that your vet clinic is concerned about selling it. They consider it to be an acceptable risk. I don't want to put a pesticide on my dog. It's not something I would ever give myself or my child, so I'm certainly not going to give it to my dog. And I certainly don't want to take a risk that my dog is going to die or suffer from seizures because we're trying to keep the ticks at bay. So what we use is a natural product. In your puppy starter kit, you will get this product. And does it work? Nowhere near as well as the insecticide does, the pesticide. However, it is quite good. We can use it on our dogs here and have virtually no ticks appear. Do we get one here and there? We do. Usually it's because we've forgotten to spray them. It only needs to be applied once a day. But it's, you know, it's possible that your dog is going to have a tick and you're going to have to remove it. As I said, generally speaking, in British Columbia, your dog is safe and there's nothing to be concerned about, but that doesn't mean that that is any sort of guarantee. So those are the health and wellness things for today's episode and what we're going to talk about today. And now we're going to do something far more fun, and we're going to talk about the puppies. So I have their weights over here because I knew if I had them next to me, they would eat them. So we're going to start with Mint Collar, which is, where are you, Mint? Who do I have here? You're not Mint, I don't think. No, I have to just move them all. Just you're purple. Yes, I know who you are. You're yellow. You're always right here. And you're silver. So Mint, obviously, by process of elimination, is lying down. Nope, this is Mint here. Sorry, I got it right. Mint and silver look too much alike. So here we have Mr. Mint Collar, our firstborn boy in the litter. And he is still the biggest in the litter, although he's tied with silver, which is why I was getting them mixed up. He is 2.26 kilograms, a nice sturdy boy. All these puppies have such a nice, beautiful body. You'll see they look like labs as he moves away from us there. That's what we're looking for, is that nice lab-like body as opposed to more of a slight build. Next we've got Blue Collar, who's right here, snuggled up with the brick. I know Blue Collar. And Blue Collar is our smallest puppy in the litter still, so we still are going from the biggest to the smallest. Hello, my cute baby. And Mr. Blue is 1.57 kilograms. Mr. Blue is right now the quiet guy in the litter. He's a very thoughtful fellow. He likes to think things through before he rushes into them. He says, I'm no fool. No, I'm a smart guy. That's my Mr. Blue. There you go. Sorry to wake you up, buddy. The parties are having their own party over here. Next we have Silver, who is right here. There we go. Hi. Wakey, wakey. Hi, handsome. How you doing? Make sure I do have the right dog. Yes. Always have to double check. Yes, look at you, got your little tongue sticking out. Oh, that's such a handsome boy. Mr. Silver is tied with Mr. Mint at 2.26 kilograms. Another chunky puppy. Yes, those are very lovely puppy. Oh, just no kiss. Oh, a little yawn. Maybe a kiss. There we go. Thank you. I love my kisses. There's Mr. Silver. And then we have Miss Pink, our only girl in the litter. And clearly she already knows her name, as soon as I said that, she came walking out. Hello, sweetheart. We're hoping to keep Miss Pink for a breeding program if she pans out as a breeding dog. It's a little too soon to discover that yet, but we're very hopeful, aren't we? And Miss Pink is 1.76 kilograms. Yeah, do you want a kiss? I love you too. Love all my puppy kisses. After Pink, whoopsie, we don't have a little crash there with your brother. After Pink, we've got Yellow, our first party. Hello, Mr. Lello. Mr. Yellow is 1.8 kilograms, and we know we're going to get a kiss from him, and he will try to eat my earrings and always smears my glasses too. This is one affectionate puppy. Oh, that's very, very friendly, aren't you? Yes. Oh, everybody's watching to see what's going on now. What is my brother doing? Where's your brother? Here he is, Mr. Red. He is our other party. Mr. Red is quieter than Mr. Yellow. Mr. Yellow is always awake when everyone's asleep, and he's a busy guy, and he's always running out to say hi. Mr. Red says, I don't have quite that same amount of energy. Does he have a kiss? There's a kiss. Da, I love you. Where's my kiss? Oh, there's a little kiss. Mr. Red is 1.9 kilograms. So he and Yellow are so close in size, and of course they look very much alike as well, with them both being the party color. Mr. Yellow is a little bit darker than Mr. Red is. And then we have Purple. This is Purple here. Purple, who's been snuggled up, sleeping right close to me the whole time. Purple is a very affectionate puppy. Lots and lots of cuddles all the time. He loves to be snuggled up next to people. And of course, I'm going to get a kiss from you. That I know I am, always. And Mr. Purple is 1.74 kilograms. So that's all of our puppies. Now next week is our puppy family visit. It's about a week later than normal, but we had another litter going home when normally these guys would have had their visit, which would have been this weekend. So we're going to do it next weekend instead. And for that, there will not be an update video done for that. Your visit will be your update video. So we're looking forward to meeting all our families, having everybody come and have a fantastic time in the afternoon, hanging around with this group of 7 super fun Labradoodle puppies. We hope to see you for the allocation video after that, and thank you so much for watching today. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie.